Joining me from the TVC News Abuja studio is the 1993 Under-17 World Cup winning coach and former Secretary General of the Nigeria Football Federation, the NFF. The transfer of talent, we call him, Chief Fani Amu. Glad to have you join us, Coach.
Thank you so much, my brother.
Right, it has come and gone, but how do you assess this year's World Cup hosted by Russia?
First and foremost, I want to believe very strongly that it was a worldwide championship, and having to have underrated the might of Russians to host a successful World Cup like Brazil, Germany, or any other country in the world. And I must confess to you that it was very warming, very friendly. Everybody was free, devoid of crime. Everybody was happy to be out, and the ambience was so pleasant that if the need arise, we would have asked for the extension of the World Cup in Russia. So they are quite friendly people.
Sounds like you are giving the first World Cup in Eastern Europe a pass mark, the way you sound.
Of course.
All right, that's an A from you. Now, what a glorious welcome for the French, winning French team. You know that feeling, you know, in 1993 when you took the team to win the Under-17 World Cup, and you know, sort of great reception for you. You saw that with the French national team. But many Super Eagles players will wish for that, wouldn't they? Instead, they made a sneaky return to the country. How do you describe this sort of feeling of winning the World Cup?
First and foremost, I want to believe that Africa won the World Cup, not the French team. That is the reason why the English national team, Belgian national team, including French, when they have any national assignments at the global level, we appreciate them because blacks have been embraced in the same way and manner. It would have been very suicidal to the authorities in football if Croatia has won the World Cup. Less than 5 million. About 20 years ago, they came into being. And even you do try and error, it shouldn't exist like that. Even on the book, before the World Cup, you say countries like Germany, countries like Brazil, countries like Argentina, and French would have won the World Cup. So either of them, one has won the World Cup, which I think is not just by mistake. You see that they really deserve it. Though unofficially, if you ask me who won the World Cup, I'll tell you Croatia. Why? Because of the might they have to come back after every lose, to try everything possible to assume the position of a winning team. So they tried their best, but I want to believe very strongly that it was a successful World Cup.
Now, this French team, they had 39% possession. The Croatians had this. Was this French team really fantastic, even though they had such a huge margin to win? Was this French team really fantastic? Yeah,
I confess to you that what affects performances in such a level is the teams that the individual players play, wherever worldwide. You can see that the Croatia team, what has given them an edge is that they have a good and promising players that are playing in a good club. So if you ask me why did the French team win, ask yourself where the individual players play. One of the best club sides in the world. So it's not a surprise. What you would have expected is a cohesion, which they had. And I want to believe that one of the reasons that why we didn't do so well is because of the teams where our players are playing of the national team's assignment, which you know, they struggle to be featured, they struggle to participate. And the question you ask yourself again, most of those promising strikers that we had before the World Cup, any mechanic on the street can make the team list. Though I am very, very satisfied with the team performance, very, very satisfied. The reason was very clear. Before the World Cup, the administrative officials, they overheat the air too much, assuming and telling everybody that they're going to win the World Cup, as if it's a backyard tournament. No, you don't say that. You build the team with confidence, not to overheat the team to tell them they're going to win the World Cup. Win which World Cup? Is a question I was asking. They said I was speaking negative. So I said, we should look forward to build a team, a foundation team, for 2022 World Cup finals and 2026 World Cup final. That was what I said. And that's the same way and manner I was expecting everybody to say. That's why at the end of the championship now, I am satisfied that the team played so well. And I will have a team, at least about 6, 7, 8, 9 players for the World Cup in 2022. That is my own benefit. And those who expect they're going to win the World Cup felt disappointed. I'm not disappointed. They tried. And the investment of Nigeria into the team was very, very objective.
Now, the tradition continues. No foreign coach has won the World Cup. Captain in 1998, Didier Deschamps managed the team to win. So winning joins the elite club here of who have won the World Cup as a player and as a coach. Now, it's been 3 World Cups since 2010, 2 foreign coaches and 1 indigenous for Nigeria. Only the home coach of the 3 took Nigeria beyond the first round in Brazil. That's Stephen Keshi. So what do we say here? Do we stick with the indigenous coach idea instead of going for foreign coaches that we pay so much money to and they don't take us beyond the first round? Lagerbach in 2010 and Gernot Rohr in 2018.
I have a very strong opinion about people saying foreign coach. Who is not a foreign coach? Are you not a foreign producer? Are you from Lagos State? It's not a joke. I'm just trying to explain. Are you from Lagos State? You are not from Lagos State. You are a foreign producer as well. I don't want to ascribe the reason for employing a coach to be attached to either foreign or local. The best should be taken. People who are in authority, who are in charge, they decide. When you say you ask somebody, just like in a referee is appointed to officiate in a match. With the confidence they give to him, his decision becomes final. He has his discretion. So those who are in charge today might say they want to opt for a foreign coach, and those who are in charge tomorrow, they say, no, we don't want a foreign coach, we want a home-based coach. I think it should be classified to say we need a foreign coach or a home-based coach. If our home-based coaches are employed today in South Africa or in England, we will not say they shouldn't be employed. So please, we should leave it a free way to competency and ability to do the job, not the issue of whether white or black. No, I won't ascribe to it. Never.
Well, you made mention of the team. You expect about at least 9 of the players in this squad, in the Super Eagles squad, to be there again, hopefully in 2022. But then they say this Nigerian team is young. I thought the Nigerian team was also young in 2002 in Japan, Korea. But Nigeria did not qualify for the World Cup in 2006, despite the fact that we had a young team in 2002. How could the country avoid a repeat of that ahead of 2022?
The issue of qualification in 2006 was a different issue. Luckily, I was on ground in 2002 with Chivonik Bide. Despite the team was young and it was a mixed feeling of the team. But we had a very successful game against England, which I think is still the best against England in the issue of Nigerian football, having to have a draw. I would have had a win. You saw how one of the players, I don't want to measure his name, threw the ball instead of hitting the net, went to pluck the mango on the tree. So, but that is just that. But I want to believe very strongly why we didn't qualify in 2006. I was then the general secretary. I keep it mum to myself. When I write my book, you see what happened. For me, we lost to politics, taking the match to Kano. Kano is in Nigeria. The same decision to take the matches to wherever, but the same decision that took the match to Kano. So there were politics against it. Why did you take the match to Kano? That was the issue. So please, I don't want to talk about 2006 World Cup, not qualifying at all. But this present team, like I told you, Roy to have a turnaround after the match they lose against South Africa was so magical. And I will say very clear here that Amaju Pinnick consulted with me to employ Roy. They had about 3 coaches. I will always say what is right and what is wrong. And I told him, I want to believe that Roy may be good, but take a decision and stand by. If it goes well, you stay, you take it. If it goes wrong, you take it. So Roy qualified Nigeria, whether you like it or not. If you say it was a bad coach qualifying Nigeria, it's good. If you say he was a good coach and he didn't qualify Nigeria, it's another thing. So what we needed was qualification. When the World Cup final, the question we would have asked Roy to ask, the best striker we had ahead of qualification was Iwobi. So why was Iwobi silent in the World Cup finals? That's the question Nigeria should be asking. So I don't want to crucify anybody. Like what I said is I believe very strongly that the team has done so well in the World Cup in Russia. And we should give them benefit of doubt to participate with some of the teams and expand their scope of scouting. Expand it. They shouldn't say foreign base and home base. No. Some home base are better than the foreign base that they bring. It's a wasteful venture. So please, it should be a mixed feeling. I don't want to know who are foreign base or home base at the preparation stage, but at the final 23 players, then we will not know who are foreign base or home base, not in the process of recruitment. I don't like it.
Well, you mentioned politics there, and it seems that after every World Cup, there is a cycle of destructive politics in Nigerian football. In 2010, we saw, after the 2010 World Cup, poor performance, Sani Lulu board was removed. In 2014, you saw the issue with the Megiri board. Here we are, another World Cup cycle, and politics is in the air. Giwa is in charge of the NFF, and FIFA is saying they recognize Amaju. What does this mean ahead of another World Cup and the implication for the national teams?
I respect the opinion of FIFA, but sometimes they should be they should be investigative. Article 59, Part 2 and 3, they must step it down in the course of Nigeria. If there's violation of any sort, you should attach it to the two parties, both Amaju and the present board of Ambassador Chris Giwa. The both parties approached the court to get justice. They approached. There was an elective Congress on August 26, if I can remember, 2014, called by Megiri. And there was an emergence of Chris Giwa. Another elective Congress was called by 30th of September in Warri. Giwa went to court to say, look, I had an election that I won. Please, they want to have another election. The court said, come before us and convince us why you want to have another election. They went on to have the election in default of the court. And the court took a position, like, we don't recognize you. An Amaju-led board went to the appeal court of Nigeria to seek redress, to appeal against the decision of the higher court in Jos. And at the end of it, the appeal court graciously granted and nullified the higher court in Jos. Everybody celebrated it. And the Ministry of Sport, who were joined by the two parties, ensured compliance. And again, the then immediate past president stepped into it through Danagogo, the honorable minister then, and they had a mutual agreement. They said, okay, the court said you can go. But if you cannot agree, we released every others we have granted, which they did, and they went to the Supreme Court. The two parties went there, they went to argue. And the Chief Justice of this same country, our country, who was the lead judge, they gave judgment. And eventually, the Ministry of Sport did not hurry to do compliance. They sought the authority and interpretation of the Attorney General. And they came up with a position which says they should ensure compliance and go back to the High Court in Jos to dig into the main case. And the Ministry of Sports again delayed it after the World Cup. I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody. April 27.
But what
only 2 weeks ago. It's
Coach,
enough time.
What now we've seen this process take its turn.
My friend, Solo, I always tell you, if you want to bring me to the studio, I don't want to be a bootlicker. You must listen to me. Because people have been misinforming the public about this country.
We are
All the
listening
letters
to you.
FIFA are written is individual Nigerians that are writing those letters for FIFA to ban Nigeria. We know these tricks. We know these pranks, please.
We are listening to you,
The
Coach.
law of this country, we're a sovereign nation. The court cannot say something is not recognized and somebody will be inducing people to say who will recognize is this.
So
Because
what's
it can go exist in Zurich or exist in Italy or go exist in Senegal. We're a sovereign nation. The laws of FIFA is deposed to you depose it to the law of Switzerland. And the law of this country, as far as football is concerned, must be deposed to the sovereignty of this country. And we don't have a status. We should say the truth. We don't have. It's going through the process of being repealed, and the president of this country must give assent to it. If not, it is not recognized. Why are we telling people lie? Let us tell Nigerians the truth. I'm not supporting anybody, please.
All right, so what should we do now, Coach? What's your recipe for
The status quo,
what's
the status
solution?
quo remains that the decision of the Supreme Court stands. While other processes is still ongoing. That is the truth about it. We should tell people the truth.
So
FIFA
the
does not know Nigeria. It's
the
why
way
people go and tell FIFA they right.
the way it is, so what's going to happen to our football? What if FIFA decides to ban
Nothing will
us?
happen. Nothing will happen. Article 59, Part 2 and 3 have been violated by the two parties. They went to the law court of Nigeria and filed and seek justice. That was the truth.
All right, there, Coach Fani Amu, or Chief Fani Amu, the 1993 Under-17 World Cup winning coach of Nigeria. They call him the transformer of talent and former General Secretary of the Nigeria Football Federation there. Well, telling us about the 2018 World Cup and how the management of football in Nigeria could have serious implications for us. Well, I guess there's so much to have we have learned about the World Cup in Russia today and the politics of football in Nigeria. That will be all of sports, but the Breakfast Show will continue here.